Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold, and I'm not really sure how we should all feel about tonight. We will get to it, obviously. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, we can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. So if you have any desires to improve the exterior of your home, that's the place to go. Now, if you are in Alaska or Dublin or, I don't know, Helsinki, can't help you. I'm sure there's an aluminum company of Helsinki. Oh, boy. How do you feel about tonight? Actually, interesting. That to me, that's the conversation. You should be conflicted about tonight. And I'm actually going to do something we don't often do here, and that's play the Rod Brind'Amour post game because I think you'll hear how he looks at tonight. And I think there is a somewhat of a level of self-medication involved, but it's kind of true. I mean, the Hurricanes dominated the game, and they lose 5-4 in overtime. They allowed almost nothing. Remember the game against the Lightning that they got beat 8-2? They allowed 14 shots on goal and lost 8-2. Tonight, they allowed 16 shots on goal and lost 5-4. I mean, there's an explanation for that, and it's called Carolina has a goaltending problem. I remember back when Carolina was really struggling, that because they're not struggling now. They're not winning a lot. They're winning enough, but they're not winning a lot. But I wouldn't say what Carolina is dealing with right now is struggling, because they're playing the game the way the Carolina Hurricanes play it. They're just not winning enough. But this goes back probably 7, 8, 9 games in the season. It might have been after the first homestand, first game of the homestand. Remember that night against Philadelphia when Carolina had come back from was it that game? I think it was the game they came back from the 2 games in Florida, the loss in Florida, the win at Tampa, they lose them to Philly. Somebody asked me, what's the problem? And we knew defense wasn't up to snuff at that point. But for me, the problem was goaltending. And the problem is goaltending. There's no other way around it. The problem is seriously goaltending. Carolina's going to have to figure that out, because if they don't figure it out, this season will be wasted. Whether they figure it out internally, whether Pyotr Kochetkov or Ranta perform better, or Frederik Andersen comes back from his blood clotting issue and resumes the role of number 1 goaltender. And of course, he would also need to be better. Whether that happens or Carolina addresses whatever needs they have at goaltending through a trade, something has to get better. I'm going to read you a stat here. This is before the game tonight, because I think the game tonight is a true indication of what the problem is. There's a stat that is called goals saved above average, and I'm on hockeyreference.com with basically an explainer for what this stat is. Goals saved above average is the goals this goalie prevented given his save percentage and shots faced versus the league average save percentage on the same number of shots. Well, you don't need to know minimums. So right now, going into tonight, Antti Ranta was goals saved above average. You want to be positive here, minus 10.2. His save percentage is .854. Frederik Andersen going into tonight, obviously he hasn't played. He's only played 6 games. Goals saved above average, negative 1.3. Pyotr Kochetkov before tonight, negative 1.6. It's a cumulative stat. My guess is that number doubled tonight. So after tonight, the Hurricanes as a team, goals saved above average is probably going to be in the neighborhood of 15. Take 15 goals off the board against Carolina. What is their record? That's just for flat average goaltending. Take 15 off the board. That's what we're talking about here. It's the problem. They have other problems, but none of the problems that we perceive Carolina to have are brand new to this team. And until this year, they haven't had a problem dealing with it. Now, maybe it would help to put this in some context, right? So what were they in that same stat a year ago? Goals saved above average. This is regular season. Frederik Andersen, negative 0.7, basically even. Antti Raanta, 3.7, not negative, positive, 3.7. Pyotr Kochetkov, 3. So as a team last year, their goals saved above average was 6. So we're talking basically league average goaltending. That was last year. 2 years ago, the year that they set a team franchise record for points, like 116 points, right? Goals saved above average. They used a few different goaltenders that year. Frederik Andersen, 22. Antti Raanta, 3.7. As a team, now Kochetkov played a little bit. Alex Lyon played a little bit. Jack LaFontaine, who could forget? But as a team, the Hurricanes 2 years prior were 20.3. That was the year that Andersen and Raanta won the Jennings Trophy. Best goals against average in the league. Let's go back one more year. We can actually, we'll go back every year during the Rod Brind'Amour era, since it's an easy stat to locate. Nedeljkovic, Reimer, Mrazek. This is the goofy pandemic year, right? Nedeljkovic, Reimer, Mrazek. Nedeljkovic, 15.7. Reimer, minus 1.2. Mrazek, 4.5. As a team, 18.9. Again, remember, it's a cumulative stat. So that actually prorates to being even better than the first year of Andersen and Raanta, which was just better than 20. Now we go back to the year where time stopped, when the pandemic shut everything down. Goaltending was meh that year. Mrazek was negative 5.4. Reimer was 3.4. We have nothing listed for David Ayres because he didn't play enough to be rated in that stat. And then the other year for Rod Brind'Amour, and I hope I'm not boring anybody. Maybe I'm just doing this because I am interested. Mrazek, Curtis McElhinney, and there wasn't enough for Scott Darling or Alex Nedeljkovic to have a rating, but Peter Mrazek, 4.5, Curtis McElhinney, 2.3, and there you go. So basically, either league average or significantly better than league average in 2 of the years. The first 2 of their division championship run in this straight division championship streak, they were either roughly league average goaltending or significantly better than league average goaltending. But this year, they might have the worst goaltending performance in the entire NHL. So when we think about 13, 8, and 1, which is what Carolina is, and 27 points in 22 games, which is still, I mean, you're on a playoff track. When we think about all of that, we have to remember the real reason why Carolina's record is what Carolina's record is. Have they played great all year? No. But especially over the last few weeks, they have played significantly better than their results would indicate. Now, it's not 100% on the goaltending, because one of the things that Carolina has had a problem with throughout the entire era is taking their puck possession and turning it into real good scoring chances. And maybe it's the style, which is a little bit more frenetic and doesn't allow itself or doesn't lend itself to turning all of it into great goal scoring opportunities. But the Hurricanes have had more than enough chances to score. I am not necessarily always going to fall in line with the way we look at sports today and expected goals and all of that. And what does this thing mean? What does this chart mean? A lot of it is just data. And what is a high danger scoring opportunity for some isn't for somebody else. The exact same shot necessarily isn't. For instance, if Jordan Martinook and Andrei Svechnikov have the exact same shot opportunity, I believe that it's a better scoring opportunity for Andre than Jordan. I mean, that's logic, right? But the way the metrics look at it is that there isn't. They don't necessarily take into account who the shooter is. So, which is one of the reasons why Stahl, Martinook, and Fost, I mean, you look at it and go, how don't they score a lot of goals? Well, none of them are goal scorers. They're not anti-goal scorers, but it's not really what they do best. So it's a volume thing for them. But Jordan did get one tonight. Martinook is going to get his soon. He's played very well. But anyway, so those are the two, I think, things that we take away from this game is that, honestly, Carolina should have done more with the chances they had, the amount of the puck that they had tonight. And they shouldn't have given up 5 goals. Absolutely should not have conceded 5 goals in all of this. There were a lot of questions about stuff that happened tonight, but I've already said it. I think the Canes have a goalie problem. How do they address it? Do they address it internally? Do they go out and make a trade? And we'll see. I don't think the organization is dumb. I think they believe that they do have an issue. And if they don't believe that they can solve it internally, I think they will go out and get one. With all that said, I know this is going to be a little weird to those of you on YouTube. You'll see me staring at you, but here's the head coach.
Wow, this is 2 games this week where you outshot your opponent by quite a bit and come up on the wrong side of things. Is that a concern for you at all, the goaltending side?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we know it's obvious. That was one of our better games we played all year. We're not going to play much better than that. So they know it, and it's tough. We're going to give up some chances, and they know they got to be better. I love the way we played. Every part of that game was solid. Everybody was solid, did their jobs. Tons of scoring opportunities, 3 or 4 goal posts. And we still scored 4. So, I mean, we limited what they were doing. That's the beauty of it. I mean, yeah, we had it. You don't want to turn a puck over on the power play there, but all the other entries we waltzed in. Penalty kill, we did a great job. We got one flipper in and tipped it in. You can't do much better than that. So, really happy with the group. We fought right to the end. We'll if we can play like that, we're gonna be in good shape.
What about the power play? Where that's been? I know you have a penalty that ends one of them.
Yeah, it wasn't great. We had, I guess, 2 full ones and gave up the short, like I said. But after the turnover on the entry, which we didn't execute right, The other ones we waltzed in. We did what we were supposed to do. But yeah, like that is an area we can get better for sure. It's kind of fallen off a little bit, although we had some really good games, we just weren't able to score. So it's a tough night for the result, but overall, I thought it was. I mean, it's the NHL where we held the team down another game to 15 shots. That's pretty good.
Rod, the challenge on the high stick, is that earlier in the play? Is what you guys are doing?
No, we messed up. I think, to be honest, they thought it was a high stick, and clearly it wasn't. So, but like I said, I wasn't. You're down a goal there. I was confident we would kill it. Like I wasn't too concerned. It's worth a shot. That's just the rules. They need to change those rules. Like he's clearly not trying to knock it out. He's just trying to stop the puck that's coming at him and cost you the game, right? It's kind of crazy, but like apparently it's black and white. So, but those are the rules they probably need to look at and go, should that really be a penalty? And you're certainly not trying to knock it out of the glass over the glass, but that's a black and white one. No, he knows he's got to have a couple of saves. That's the difference. I mean, you can't go through a game without giving up a couple of grade A opportunities. So we just got to get a few of those, and he has. He did the other night. I mean, we just got to get that consistency in that position, and I think we're in real good shape.
Do you think Jordan's haircut unlocked his scoring?
That's a question for him. That was a nice shot, and that one got by the goalie. Their goalie played great. You got to get, sometimes you just got to tip your hat. He made a ton of good saves and allowed their team to stay in.
What does it say about this team? Just how the team dug at the very end before that last
night? That's what I'm taking out of it. It's easy. We could have just folded the tent on a lot of occasions where this game was going. I mean, it certainly wasn't going our way. And had a chance to win. Shazy makes a great end-to-end play in overtime. Their goalie makes a big save, and then come down the other. I mean, that's hockey. So, but I got to give the guys, like I said, a lot of credit for. Those are the tough games when you're doing everything right and you're getting zero reward out of it. You have to stick with it. That's positive.
Svetch comes back in, you get Marty with Nason and Drew, but it also seemed like when you talk about your overall performance, the way that line played had something to kind of let everybody go in place a little bit. Yeah, well, listen, like I said, I thought we had contributions from everyone, and that's what you need. Want to be a team we want to be. We can't rely on one or two guys. That's not going to work. So tonight, that's where we had. I mean, we should have won the game. It didn't happen. Come back tomorrow, we'll get a little better in these areas. Try to, and but I'm really happy with that game as far as the way we played it.
And it's hard to argue with just about everything that Rod Brind'Amour said there. However, I'm going to just disagree in one regard. The mistakes that they made at certain times were incredibly avoidable. And Seth Jarvis in the locker room pointed it out. Jarvis said, I can't make the mistake on the power play, which led to the shorthanded goal. 100% correct. And he can't lose the puck. When you're in overtime, you are better off not shooting no matter where you are than you are losing control of the puck. You don't want sharp angle shots. You don't want low percentage shots. And you cannot turn the puck over because it's the other way in a hurry. Carolina also had a problem tonight with the length of time on their shifts. On the power play, that was a problem. And I thought it was a problem in overtime. Man, Brady Shea was gassed at one point. Sebastian Aho was out on the ice too much in the overtime. So was Natchez on one of his shifts. But the Jarvis turnover led to the 3-on-2, which was culminated by the Dobson pass back to Barzell for the game-winning goal. So Jarvis makes two mistakes and owned up to it in the locker room. And Jesperi Kotkaniemi cannot allow Pierre Engvall off the wall into the middle of the ice. Can't do it. So, but ultimately with all of that, they didn't allow a ton. They allowed 16 shots on goal. In the second period, this was the most incredible thing. Jordan Stahl scores early in the second. Carolina, 2 minutes in, Carolina makes 2-1. The Islanders did not attempt a shot in the second period until there were 11 and a half minutes gone. Didn't attempt a shot. And Carolina only led 2-1. Then the first shot attempt was actually a 2-on-1 opportunity that Kochetkov did make a save on. They got a couple of shots in that sequence, and then they scored 2 goals late. By the way, late goals have been a problem for Carolina. The goal that was scored toward the end of the first period with about 2 minutes left. Actually, I think it was exactly 2 minutes left, right? That goal was the 9th time that the Hurricanes have allowed a goal in the last 2 minutes of the first period. 4 of them have come inside of a minute to go in the period. They played 22 games. That's 22 first periods. And 9 times Carolina has conceded a goal inside the last 2 minutes of the period. Those late goals flip momentum in games. Not all of them have been bad, by the way, right? I'm not talking about the goals been bad. Not all of them cost you on the whether a win or a loss. But man, they make it harder. They absolutely make it harder. Carolina dominated the first period, and you go into the locker room and you're tied. Dominated the second period, they go into the locker room trailing. The 2 goals, basically 4 minutes left and 2 minutes left. 2 goals at the end of the second period. But again, you scored the first goal of the third period right away. Tie it up. So the mistakes cost Carolina tonight, and Rod Brind'Amour said it. Pyotr Kochetkov knows he has to have a couple of those. So what do? I know everybody's got a goaltender they want Carolina to trade for. I've seen UC Saros. I believe somebody wants to give up a bag of pucks and a lifetime supply of Spam for UC Saros. Probably not going to get Nashville to bite on that. Although Nashville does have a goaltender of the future, so at some point Saros will be available, but that goaltender of the future has to be ready to step in. Until then, Saros will not be available. And they're not trading their goaltender of the future because you don't do that unless he's not better than the guy you've got. So they're not getting UC Saros. Somebody wants Connor Hellebuck. If Connor Hellebuck is available, it would be a new one since he just signed a contract that will keep him with Winnipeg through, I believe, the 2031 season. I don't think that guy's available. Anybody that Carolina trades for is either going to be somebody's backup or a bad team trying to rebuild. Could you get Jake Allen from the Canadiens? I don't know. Is Jake Allen that good? I mean, this could rejuvenate anybody, but I wouldn't rule anything out. But I don't believe this organization is going to trade for a Hellebuck or anybody like that. So who knows what's going to happen with this team? I mean, I know the team is good. The team played well tonight, really well tonight. Just in terms of possession metrics, shot attempts, 96-39-4. Scoring chances, 47-19. 47-19. 2.5-1. Grade A scoring chances, 17-9. See, the gap between the scoring chances and the high danger chances probably shouldn't be as wide. Probably shouldn't have a gap of 30 between those two. The Islanders' gap was 10, 19 scoring chances, but 9 grade A's. And again, expected goals for the Hurricanes tonight was 4. They got 4. and I thought Simeon Varlamov played well. Expected goals for the Islanders tonight was 2. So I think that was, to me, that's the nature of this game, that Carolina dominated the game and didn't win. Too many mistakes and too few saves from Pyotr Kochetkov. That's where Carolina is right now. So back to the original question. How do you feel about a point tonight? Considering the goaltending? Maybe you just go, all right, well, it's the Alonzo Mourning on the bench meme where he goes, yeah, well, considering the goaltending, we'll take a point and move on. And hopefully it'll get better on Saturday against the Buffalo Sabres. Oh, by the way, somebody suggested bring up Yanni Peretz from the minors, who played at Quinnipiac last year and has been excellent as a collegian. He's the second best goaltender in the ECHL for the Norfolk Admirals right now. He's not the answer. He is not the answer. Not yet. The Hurricanes want the answer to be right here in this locker room. I'll be surprised if Antti Raanta doesn't play against Buffalo on Saturday. But in Italy, the answer's got to be number 52. So tonight was a tough one. Tonight was a tough one to take. All right, that'll do it for us. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Sammy Henner's crew do a great job. We appreciate them. We appreciate your time here on the Canes Corner podcast. We're here all the time. Hit the subscribe button, like us, rate us, review us. If you're listening in a regular podcast form, do the same thing. Rate, review, do it all. And appreciate all of you for hanging out with us wherever you are. Adelaide, Perth, Brisbane. Well, you guys building a $2 billion stadium to get the Olympics? Really? Good for you. Good for you. The Olympics are fun. Salt Lake City's going to get the Olympics in 2034 without corruption, without bribery. Good for them. So thank you for listening. And I'm Adam. And enjoy December. We're here. But those of you who are in Australia, it's already December, right? We'll see everybody down the road on Saturday night after the Canes take on the Buffalo Sabres. I am Adam Gold, and I wish you all a good night.